Hi, I'm Tom Walters, owner and chief pilot of Blue Sky Banners. Today we're going to introduce you to a very exciting way to fly an airplane and actually get paid for it. Now what I'm referring to, of course, is the art of banner towing, one of the most dramatic methods ever devised by pilots to convey a personal message, advertise a product, or a service. We'll take you step by step through the procedures in preparing for a mission and take you right along with us as we fly to a target. Whether you plan on establishing your own banner towing business or just want to go along for the ride, I'm sure you're really going to enjoy our behind-the-scenes look at aerial advertising. But first, let's check in with Fred Waltz, an old friend of ours who has some interesting things to say about his experiences as a banner pilot.
Well, I don't know exactly how we got started in banner towing. We had to try to make some money, and a fellow named John Maggi, the old parachute guy, he built our first banners for us, and he's still alive. He's still around there. But we used to lay the banner out in front of us in a long, long rope and take off, and if we got off, it was fine. If we didn't, we messed it up most of the time. It'd get curled up and tangled up and have a big ball back there. We had one time where we were going to tote Old Homestead bread for a Dutchman, and he wanted to ride over the fairgrounds at a certain time. And at Sacramento, he wanted the governor to see it. So I couldn't fly it. It wasn't legal to fly it, but we got a fellow named Buzz Slingsby to fly it for us. And he tried a couple, 3 times to get it off. It was a good hot day, and he couldn't get off, and he quit. And I'd borrowed a Kinder airplane from a fellow named Eddie Loretz, who ran a liquor store. So anyway, we had to have that money, and I got in the thing, and I said, "I'll take off the word eat." And I got in the air, and I flew just Old Homestead bread. Well, then the old Dutchman didn't want to pay us. He said, "I hired you to eat the Old Homestead bread, not the Old Homestead bread," but he finally paid us off.
Thanks, Fred. Well, before we go charging off into the wild blue yonder, let's get ourselves organized right here in the hangar. I know it's not the most exhilarating part of the process, but a methodical approach to the preparation of your banner will pay big dividends. Now let's get started assembling our banner. Okay, then let's get down to business. Here we have our basic layout table. Nothing fancy or high-tech, just a smooth surface, 4x8, something that we can slide our letters around on without snagging or tearing. Before we start assembling our banner, be sure to write down the message exactly as it will appear. Be certain to include all spaces, punctuation marks, etc. Above all, double-check your spelling. It may seem obvious, but all you need to do is misspell someone's name once and your business could go into a tailspin, and it could be very embarrassing. Now here I have the lead pole, which we sometimes refer to as the mast. This is an important component of the banner. Its job is to stabilize the banner in flight and to prevent it from rolling around in an uncontrollable manner. The mast also has this bridle assembly, which attaches to this connector ring. This is the attachment point of the tow line, which we will show you in a little while. Our first letter, or character, connects directly to the mast using these loops that are sewn into each horizontal strap. And just continue to attach the loops to the mast in a similar manner until all of the straps are attached, making certain that they are not twisted or frayed, or that the rods on the mast are intact and not fractured or broken or bent. Continue assembling the remaining letters in a similar fashion, checking rods and loops and being ever mindful of spelling. The final section of our banner consists of the tailpiece. The function of the tailpiece is to stabilize the end of the banner during flight. The attachment is the same as the other characters. We'll show you how it works a little later in the program. Well, that completes the banner assembly. Not too difficult, really. And we double-checked our spacing and spelling as we went along, just to make sure. And now we're ready to go out to the pickup zone. So let's go.
When planning a mission, you must allot plenty of time for preparation. The first step is to double-check all information with your client well in advance. Always make it a habit to inspect your banner equipment on a routine basis. Be sure to order replacement items before they're needed. And always double-check spelling and punctuation.
The beauty of operating a banner towing business is that the equipment is rather simple. I can transport the banner and pick up the apparatus in the back of a small vehicle or even in an airplane if need be. Well, we have all the elements now for our banner pickup. We have the banner, we have the pickup bases, the blocks to hold the poles, we have the pickup poles themselves, we have the tow rope, we have the ever-present masking tape, we have some duct taping, and we have some repair tape. From this point on, it's a good idea to have a dedicated ground crew. If you generally associate with aviation buffs, it won't be hard to find a helpful crew. The primary purpose of the pickup poles is to elevate the looped end of the tow line so that your grapple hook can arrest it safely. Generally, we want the poles to be about 10 feet high and separated by about 15 to 20 feet. This gives you a nice broad target area for your approach. And speaking of approaches, it's a good idea to plan your pickup zone so there aren't any obstacles like overhead power lines, hills, or trees. The pilot must have a long and level approach to the pickup point. So always consider a long, safe approach path. Here's an extremely important detail. This peg is the only thing that holds the loop end of the tow line in place until it's arrested by the grapple hook. It's a pretty simple arrangement. However, it must always be facing in the proper direction, the direction your aircraft is heading. If you reverse these pegs or accidentally wrap the line around the pegs, there is a chance that you could drag one of the poles aloft, so be careful. The line should slip right off the peg in this manner. Also, be sure to take as much sag out of the loop as you can. The line should be fairly taut. This loop is going to have to sit up on the support pegs until we make our pickup. It's going to be a while yet, and a breeze could blow it off the pegs during that time. We'll go ahead and gently tack the loop to the poles with a little masking tape in 2 or 3 places, just to hold it temporarily. When the grapple hook arrests the loop, the tape will break away easily, providing you don't wrap the tape around the pole. Always use masking tape. Anything stronger than masking tape won't break as easily. We don't want to take the pole with us on our mission. That could be dangerous. The pickup loop passes through this steel ring, which is permanently fastened to the tow line. Make sure it's not damaged and always look for any signs of fraying on both the loop and the tow line. This tow line leads directly to the banner's bridle assembly. Our next task at the pickup zone is to lay out our banner. In doing so, we must remember to place it no greater than 45 degrees to the flight path of the aircraft. Tacking the banner to the pavement with bits of duct tape will help prevent it from blowing around should the wind pipe up. We especially want to secure the tailpiece in a couple of places due to its tendency to act as a drag chute. On this unsecured tailpiece, you can see how it works. Its job is to trap the air and prevent the end of the banner from fluttering during flight. Heath will finish tacking down and inspecting, while I roll out the remaining letters. He's discovered the end of this pole is broken off, which could allow the clip to slide off the end. This could lead to problems in midair, so we'll make a temporary repair with duct tape. Once our mission is over and the banner is returned to the hangar, we'll make a permanent repair or perhaps replace the damaged pole. When the banner is completely rolled out, we'll make sure the bridle assembly, which is attached to the lead pole, isn't twisted or knotted. At the bridle, we simply attach the tow line clip to the steel connector. We always tug on every connection, just as a safety precaution. Again, we turn our attention to the tow line. This time we'll inspect every inch of it, all the way back to the loop. It only takes a minute or so, but if there's a damaged section ready to part under tension, we want to know about it so that we can make any necessary repairs. Now that we've connected everything, let's make one final inspection. Double check for loose fittings and position the lead pole so that the bridle attachments point skyward. This enables the banner to get airborne quickly with minimal stress on the components. It's a good idea to go over the letters again and make certain none of them are frayed or torn. Carefully read the whole banner. This is your last opportunity to catch spelling errors. It also gives you a chance to spot potential problems that you may have overlooked. Here's a good example. A twisted strap, just a small detail, but it could lead to a separation in midair. The banner and the pickup apparatus are now in place. It's important to note that we've placed the banner at a 45-degree angle to the flight path to facilitate its launching. There's one more thing to mention about the pickup zone. Stay away from tall grassy fields or other areas of obstruction such as rocks, branches, power lines, etc. Even if you're towing off an airport, be wary of runway lights or any other obstructions that might snag your banner. Well, it's time to go prep the plane, so I'll see you back at the hangar. I've chosen the Aviat Husky for my banner work because of its exceptional handling characteristics and because it's just plain fun. But banners can be towed by a variety of aircraft. There's just a couple of adaptations I had to make to the Husky to facilitate banner towing. The major component that was added was this tow hitch. It's made by Schweitzer and is pretty common to all glider and banner tow airplanes being used in the United States. The other adaptation was this release handle mounted in the cockpit. It's linked by a cable to the release mechanism on the tow hitch. Now here is some equipment you haven't seen yet. This is the grapple hook and cable assembly. The ring on the end of the cable attaches to the tow hitch, which we'll demonstrate in a few moments. Further on down the cable, we find the safety link. Now the purpose of the safety link is to prevent damage to the airplane if the grapple hook or banner accidentally becomes entangled with an object on the ground. If, for example, you snagged a fence post with a grapple hook, you might not live long enough to collect your fee from the client. The safety link will prevent such occurrence by separating when the load reaches 700 to 750 pounds. It's also required by the Federal Aviation Administration. This is the celebrated grapple hook we've been talking about. Its job, of course, is to arrest the tow line at the pickup zone. After deployment in midair, it suspends about 8 feet or so under the airplane. Let's go ahead and connect our cable to the tow hitch. The ring on the cable assembly simply couples to the release mechanism on the tow hitch. Close the mechanism and lead the cable under the hitch. This will prevent the cable from accidentally releasing the mechanism if it were let over the top. We need to rely once again on our trusty masking tape. This time we will temporarily attach the cable to the bottom of the tow hitch. When it comes time to deploy the hook after we've taken off, the force of the hook and cable will break away the masking tape. Let's tape the cable again and lead the grapple hook all the way to the cockpit. Now we just place the grapple hook onto this simple holding device. Wrap and secure the cable on this Velcro strip and we're done. Make doubly sure that the cable isn't kinked or snagged on anything, and keep an eye on the tail section to make sure it isn't touching or restricting any control surfaces. For the time being, we're going to put banner towing out of our minds while we fully concentrate on pre-flighting our aircraft. Don't ever let banner preparation detract you from your primary responsibilities as a pilot.
If you plan to tow banners with your airplane, you must understand the requirements set forth by the Federal Aviation Administration. These requirements and restrictions are found in the Airman's Information Manual. Be particularly aware of Part 91.119, which specifies legal altitudes. In addition, you need to file for a certificate of waiver or authorization with the FAA. This document specifically identifies the areas you may operate within and any FARs that are waived to permit banner tow operations. Special provisions regarding banner towing are included in this document. Also, if you are conducting a banner operation for hire, you must be a commercially rated pilot and possess a current medical certificate. Now it's time to fly a few actual missions.
If you're operating from an uncontrolled or remote field, you should be particularly aware of other traffic and advise all aircraft in the area that you're engaged in a banner towing operation. If you're operating from a controlled field, you must let air traffic control know you're going to be doing some banner work in the area. Even though we're presently using an abandoned field, we still need to advise the tower at the nearby airport. Santa Rosa Tower, Husky 00 uniform, over. 00 uniform is off Air Center with banner in tow. Be flying over the fairgrounds, 1,200 feet. Advise when we're complete and on the way back. After you've cleared the runway and are at a safe altitude, you can deploy the grapple hook. We're now ready to make our approach into the pickup zone, where our crew is standing by with a two-way radio. This is a safety precaution, which you might want to consider. Larry, 00 uniform, is everything clear in the pickup zone?
We're all clear here.
Two-way radio communication with the ground crew is a good way to ensure that everything is in order at the pickup zone. Advising the crew of your approach gives everyone on the ground an opportunity to clear the area before you make the pickup. You'll remember we talked about positioning our pickup zone so that we have a nice, long, level approach path. We now have the pickup zone in sight, and there are no obstructions whatsoever. The descent and approach to the pole should be made in a stable attitude to keep the hook in a fixed position relative to the aircraft. If the nose of the aircraft bobs upward, the hook will descend further. If the nose bobs down, the hook will swing in an upward fashion. Now, we don't want to come screaming into our pickup zone like a kamikaze fighter pilot. Airspeed is an important factor here. It should be about 150% of the stall speed of your aircraft. When we're a few feet from the poles, we apply full throttle and pull up sharply into a steep climb. We want to get plenty of altitude before moving the banner. This rotation swings the hook down into the pickup loop. Just as soon as contact is made, the nose of the aircraft is lowered to maintain good airspeed. Remember, there will be a fair amount of drag added to the aircraft once you arrest the banner. Assuming we have successfully made the pickup, we must now keep the aircraft in a shallow climb at full power. Most of the time, you don't even feel the pickup. We always make it a habit to glance back to see if the banner's still laying on the ground. Of course, if it is, you'll have to make another approach. If you are conducting the mission without the assistance of a ground crew, you'll have to rely on your own observations anyway. That pickup happened pretty fast. I hope you're watching closely. Let's see another approach and pickup. Remember, approach speed is 150% of the stall speed of your aircraft. Pull the aircraft up just before contact. Full throttle. And ease your nose down to maintain good airspeed. Before you make your first pickup, it's a good idea to make a few dry runs with just the poles in place. Your ground crew can make close observations and report to you how close you were to the hook. Once in a great while, pilots will snag the pickup loop with the nose gear of a tricycle aircraft. This will only happen when you make an approach which is too low. Although you can still fly the mission, we strongly suggest that you land at once. In the event of an engine failure, there would be no way to release the banner. The same conditions hold true for tail draggers. If you snag the loop with the main gear, land as soon as possible. The basic pickup technique for tricycle gear is essentially the same. Let's watch the modified Cessna 150 make a few. The success of your mission will depend heavily upon arriving at the target on time. If your client wants the message to appear at 1 in the afternoon, you'd better make your appearance exactly at 1. This seems simple enough, right? Well, there's one very important factor you must keep in mind when planning out your schedule: timing. Due to the increased drag, you can't fly at normal cruising speed. Such an attempt would greatly increase the drag, causing damage to the banner and possibly overheating your engine. The truth is, banner towing requires that you learn to specialize in slow flight. So take your target distance into account and plan accordingly. Just make sure that you tow at the slowest practical airspeeds while still maintaining a safe stall margin, positive control, and adequate engine cooling. Remember, your engine will be working a little bit harder, which means higher cylinder head temperatures and increased fuel consumption. Keep in mind that a climb prop is more efficient than a cruise prop at towing speeds. Also, you may find that your best rate of climb speed might change. The maximum recommended tow speed is 70 knots, although pilots generally tow around 55 to 60 knots. One advantage of flying slow is that it's much easier for your viewers to read and respond to your message. And that's the whole point of banner towing. Never fly directly over your target. Your viewers shouldn't have to look up at any angle greater than 45 degrees. Always fly with your target on the left side of your airplane. This, of course, allows your viewers to read the message from left to right. Now, it might be quite a temptation to fudge on the rules and fly lower to please your viewers. However, banner tow pilots must abide by the FAA regulations like everyone else. When making a pass over your target, maintain a minimum altitude of 1,000 feet AGL. In fact, cheating on altitude doesn't make a lot of sense anyway. These letters were designed to be clearly seen at legal altitudes. It's quite a satisfying feeling watching people on the ground respond to your work. Let's hear what some of them have to say about aerial advertising.
That's incredible. That's the way to really get a message across.
Another part of looking up and seeing the banner is thinking about the pilot up there and the fun they must be having doing that. It's got to be great.
I enjoy looking at banners. When I hear an airplane fly over and I look up there and I see the banner fluttering away, it's really neat. It's a unique way of advertising, and it's fun for the people on the ground. It really is.
I think banners is a pretty good form of advertising. It's effective, catches everybody's eye, interesting to watch them. Try to read it backwards.
Oh, neat. Those banners are really cool.
After making several passes with our banner, it's time to take this bird home. Maintaining legal altitudes, keeping viewers on the left, and carefully monitoring our airspeed all translate into successful missions. We try to be good neighbors by flying to and from our targets over unpopulated areas whenever possible. And in the event of an engine failure, it affords us an area to jettison the banner. If you don't, the banner will cause excessive drag, which will adversely affect your glide ratio. Larry, there's your uniform on final. How's everything in the drop zone?
Drop zone's all clear, Tom. Come ahead.
Okay, we'll be coming in. Everything went fine on the mission. Stand by. We have a predetermined drop zone, which will be on an unused taxiway at the uncontrolled field we've been operating from. Before releasing the banner and cable, maintain an altitude of about 150 to 200 feet. Remember, the banner is trailing some distance behind you, so time to release accordingly. Proper altitude will permit the banner to lose most of its forward momentum before striking the ground. If for some reason the banner doesn't release, simply fly into the pattern and land far enough downfield so that the banner will clear any obstacles. Make a steep approach, which will keep the banner above the aircraft, and flare out close to the runway. The drag of the banner will cause you to lose airspeed quickly, so use short field landing techniques. Now, being chief pilot doesn't give you an excuse to go flying around after a mission. It's a good idea to land and help your ground crew retrieve the banner. Well, that certainly was a lot of fun. Banner towing affords a unique opportunity for a pilot to demonstrate his or her skills while providing a little excitement for everyone on the ground. But the safety of a mission depends on how well you maintain your equipment. Here are a few safety tips.
Proper maintenance and inspection are vital to a safe banner towing operation. Following every flight, the safety link must be examined. If it is bent, a replacement should be made immediately. Operating in high winds or with heavy banners could cause excessive strain to be placed on the safety link. Look over all straps, poles, and letters for any signs of wear. You can use nylon repair tape in the field, but it's a good idea to make permanent repairs with the sewing machine. Also, replace any broken poles as soon as they're detected. Finally, it's a good standard procedure to give the release mechanism on the tow hitch a test right before each flight. A thorough inspection of this component could reveal a potential problem.
Our first task at the drop site is to retrieve the tow line. Feed the line hand over hand into a box or bucket and tape the end to the outside. This will allow you to draw out the line later without tangles or snarls. During the retrieval process, it's extremely important to inspect for damage on the banner. Most likely you'll find something that will require immediate attention. Dan, we might want to put a little tape on this one, Larry. Measure off a piece there, Larry. We'll cut it about the right size. Right here. Yeah. Scientifically. Separate.
Good old ripstop tape.
This is 200-mile-an-hour ripstop.
Is it?
No.
I wouldn't doubt that they make it.
Yeah, that looks good, Larry. That ought to hold us. Just trim off these loose pieces here. And we're all ready for the next use of this one now. All right. By standing in one place and bringing the banner towards the roll, we keep it nice and taut so we don't get a big bulky banner or roll to put in storage or take back into the assembly area. Beautiful day, another successful mission. Working yet. Thank you for watching our program on banner towing. You don't have to be an aerobatic pilot to do it. By using the techniques we've shown you, plus routine safety procedures, you too can enjoy the exhilaration of banner towing. And before you know it, you'll have your clients looking up to you. I'm Tom Walters. Thank you for watching.